Alright guys, welcome back. We're now going to address the topics, the choices rather that John made at his house while he played the game. Obviously pretty funny how, we had people who like horror. I like some. I've showed him the animation. That's a different day's topic though. The animation I showed you, that's another. If you're new to horror, I would recommend that. If you're like really young,
Yeah.
depending on each person. But okay, let's get into this. Here's how it's gonna work. He has provided me with the choices he made while playing the game Until Dawn. I will read them off to David, who has no prior knowledge. The major choices, I'm not talking about the small ones, like did you provoke Jess? That's minor. I'm talking about the big choices from each chapter. Okay, good. I will read to you first. You will give us your logic, and you will tell us whatever you incline to, but especially make sure to tell us, did you do the same thing, and maybe why or why not. That's about it.
Did you take both choices down or just his?
I think I took both down.
If you jotted both down, then I could tell you what I did, because I'm not going to remember everything in exact detail.
Yeah, same.
It's been like a year, 2 years since I played the game.
Of course.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I'll refresh my memory, like which character too, because there's so many and it's hard to.
We will go through 4 chapters. We'll take a camera cut just to reset it, and then we do the last one.
All right.
So let's do it. We begin chapter 1. The game begins. He starts it. But before we get any farther, were you trying to make every? What were you trying to do? Were you trying to like play it as if you were in the moment, how you do the choices, or something different?
Well, more like about like trying to like be creative about like thinking about all horror films I've watched. Where I think, okay, what would happen? What would this character do that I've seen in other horror films with cliches, but just done differently though?
Okay. So you're trying to see if it follows a cliche or not.
A little bit.
And so it's like a mix of everything.
A little, yeah. To me, it was like a combination. Like the game was a combination of like Saw, Texas Chainsaw, a little bit of Evil Dead and stuff because of like its atmosphere and stuff. But just done it out in the woods in the winter.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm looking forward to this.
Yes.
So let's do it.
By the way, spoiler warning.
Yes.
If you haven't played the game by now, you probably should.
Yeah, we will have a spoiler warning on the
It's going to be a spoiler warning because if you haven't played the game and you plan to, why have you not played it yet?
It's only $20 brand new these days.
Wait, actually, before we like move on to 2, can I just say something quickly about chapter 1? To me, I feel like with chapter 1, it's like you say, it's really more of an introduction. There wasn't much to it. It's like, why did I do this? Why did I do that? I don't know. It was just an introduction just to move on and get on with the rest of the series. That's all I can say about chapter 1.
There was also the relationship bars.
Okay, true, and also like it was
the relationship bars with each character.
I did
because there's a scene later on in the game that if you didn't have a relationship bar up with somebody, I'm not gonna say who, just so that they go and find out for themselves.
Right.
Unless we even know it all in the fucking comment section, going, oh, what's this person? Right. He's probably gonna do that now. Damn it. Anyway, if you do a certain event, it drops the person. Right. You're playing as somebody, and if you do something, you actually have to do. You're actually a part of that scene. If you do something during that scene, it gets the character you're playing as killed off.
Yeah. Also, like in most like horror films, it's like it's the setup and the build-up for like to get on with the story about like what's gonna happen like next. Are they gonna they try to find out who did this to them, like who was it, and like why and stuff. And
the relationship part, you can start building that or decreasing that from the very beginning.
Right.
There's a section in the first section. Chris's phone is going off in his backpack. You're playing as Yoga Pants. I don't remember her name.
For now, let's just call her Yoga Pants.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yoga Pants is there. She's looking for her, and I'm probably gonna remember her name later. I'm just gonna be like, wow, I'm an idiot. It's this person.
Right.
Probably. But she is looking for him, and she's hearing his phone go off in his backpack.
I feel bad for the character who they like. They played a prank on because I feel like that's a lot of people can all relate to getting pranked by a lot of people in life.
You run, or you throw something at him the first time.
Right.
If you throw something at the psycho the first time, you get an achievement.
What's up, guys? Okay, we're back with David's segment. like we said here on the show, we'll pick a theme each week. This week we're doing John's horror club. He's the president of, newly president, because semester is starting back, and we want to bring some light, some new attention to his club. He's doing a presentation on horror sci-fi. We might even upload to the channel, or his channel, just so you know. I'm a writer, so on my segment I talked about writing and how writing with horror can be sometimes, and he's our gamer out of the three of us, and he's talking about horror in terms of games and which good ones there are, maybe some bad ones and philosophies. But right now we're going to continue going over John's choices of Until Dawn, the game you and him have played. Chapter 4, he chose to save Ashley over Josh.
That's a false choice, actually. And while games that do actually do that, most of them are terrible.
Right.
Until Dawn makes it seem like it's your fault. Like, I tried to choose Josh.
Right.
Because I kind of figured that it would do it's gonna auto click over to Ashley, save her.
Right.
Kind of thing. But it's one of those false choices that you don't feel bad about.
Right.
Because it just pulls out Chris's character.
Right.
Like, he's gonna choose his loved ones over his best friend. So.
He said now one thing he did not like. He said he did not like the couple, if I think this is right, Mike and Jess at all. So with Jess, he said if Jess were up there instead of Ashley, he would have killed Jess. Do you feel similarly?
The only person I didn't like in the Until Dawn cast was Emily.
Okay.
If Emily was there, I would have attempted more to kill her over Josh, simply because nice and warm too.
Yeah.
Simply because I don't like Emily's character.
Right.
She's a bitch. She's supposed to be a bitch, but
Right.
stop it.
But she's just like that.
But she's not a very likable character. If you like Emily, you have the patience of a saint.
Right.
But I don't like Emily.
Of course.
So,
For him, that character, how you don't like Emily, was Jess. So she was obnoxious.
yeah. There's a thing you can do in between the chapters.
Yes.
Where the psychiatrist asks you who you hate the most out of all the characters.
He said Jess.
No, I said Josh.
Right. He chose Jess.
I got it so that I chose Josh.
Right.
And the psychiatrist has a very interesting reaction to it when you choose Josh as the person you hate.
Right.
He has it for each person.
Yeah.
As, okay, like, choose between these two people who you like.
Right.
Everyone but Josh, who do you hate the most out of... I had Josh and Emily. I chose Josh.
Right.
The psychiatrist goes, oh, you hate Josh.
Which can hint, this is spoilers, that you would be willing to admit yourself. Because it doesn't ask you.
The whole point of the psychiatrist scene is, spoilers, Josh talking to the psychiatrist.
Right.
And Josh is trying to work through all of his problems through the entire thing.
Right.
The very last psychiatrist scene you have is him berating you for not being able to work through your problems.
Right.
And then he disappears.
Of course. That was the confusion. It's all basically in his head in some way.
The psychiatrist is in his head.
Right.
Which is why the further through the story you get, if you do certain things, the psychiatrist starts getting more and more effed up.
Right.
Like if you do something wrong, he starts turning into a zombie.
Right. Exactly.
If you do it right, he stays relatively in perfect condition, but
Right.
Josh punches him when
Right.
he's in his psycho mask,
Right.
and he ends up with a cut on his face. That's unavoidable.
Yes.
That's basically the only thing that was wrong with him during my playthrough.
My last question is about Emily. Since Emily's the character you don't like, did you have the choice to shoot? No, I'm not gonna ask you if you had the choice. Did you choose to shoot Emily when she had the disease?
I did not, and I did not simply because I had metagaming knowledge on my side, as well as the fact that I was trying to keep everyone alive.
Right.
I knew that Ashley would read that book and be like, oh, it doesn't spread through bite.
Right.
The disease doesn't spread through bite.
Because you read that part.
It's a Wendigo.
Yeah.
And while Wendigo are rarer in legends,
Right.
I want to say mythology, but
Right.
Wendigos could exist, they could not exist, I don't really care.
Right.
I know my legends too.
Right.
Wendigos only take over when somebody cannibalizes.
Right.
So, if you're starving and you're with a dead body, you're gonna eat that dead body so you can stay alive. But
Right.
a Wendigo spirit, if it's nearby, is going to possess you and you're not gonna be able to stop.
Right.
When you cannibalize, as soon as you cannibalize as the Wendigo,
You're done.
if there's a Wendigo spirit nearby, it's...
Josh was done the minute they left him, like 10 minutes later. They came back, he's dead, he's not dead, he's taken away. We're back, 7-8, Until Dawn, the theme of our January week, John's Horror Sci-Fi Club. So, in all areas of life, I'm talking about it in terms of wedding, he's talking about it in terms of game philosophy. He decided to hit Josh with the bat, instead of knocking the gun out of Mike's hand.
I knocked the gun out of Mike's hand simply because I did want to seem like I was on Josh's side.
Right.
Like, from the character standpoint, Chris didn't know if the gun was loaded or not.
Right.
And he should have, because that was the gun that he used himself. So what you can do in the earlier section leading up to this part is it's when Chris and Ashley are in the trap.
Right.
Chris and Ashley are sitting in front of each other. Chris has one hand free and he has to pick up the gun.
Right.
The gun is full of blanks.
Correct.
If you point it at Ashley, you can, and you point it at Ashley and you shoot her, or shoot at her,
Yes.
Chris gets killed later in the game.
Right.
Because Ashley's gonna remember that and be like, oh, he tried to kill me.
Right.
And she's not gonna let him in when the Wendigo kills Flamethrower guy and
Right.
done.
Exactly. Quickly, before we go on chapter 8, last one we have, before I ask him another question, what happened is, basement, where he wrote down here, the hand thing that's sticking out that can cut off part of your hand, he went for it. I told him,
approached it, but I didn't touch it.
neither did I, if you recall.
I approached it, looked at it for like 2 seconds, and Mike went, huh, interesting.
Right.
And then I had him walk away.
Correct. He did that. I will also mention Emily died in the elevator shaft.
I didn't even know you could die there.
He claims, Coach was right, he was holding down, RT, but not moving it up or down the right stick or whatever, for like a minute and a half. She died in the elevator because the guy was chasing her. The Wendigo.
I didn't even know you could die in that part, honestly. Like, I looked up all of the deaths. That was none of them.
Right.
I honestly thought you could only get Emily killed after that elevator section, simply because the Wendigo is actually chasing her, and while there's a sense of unease and frightfulness because you have something chasing you,
Right.
Emily knows there's something chasing her. You honestly, your character standpoint, she's going to be trying that lever.
Right.
Even if it doesn't do anything, she's going to be trying to use that lever because something is chasing her.
Correct. I would also,
And she's scared for her life.
Right.
So she's doing this lever, and you can actually see the Wendigo climbing up the elevator shaft
Right.
after her because it's going up, and you can actually see in between boards because
Right.
there's space in between the boards. You could see the Wendigo just leap up
Right.
through that gap, and the first time you see that, you're like, oh shit, there's something chasing me.
I would also say,
When you're the player, Emily knows that there was something chasing her because Flamethrower guy was chasing her earlier.
right. I would also say the very first moment, the very first time the flamethrower was looking, she comes out of the elevator, whatever. She's behind the wall. She hears someone walking. Flamethrower guy. he messed up the don't move when he went down there. He messed up the don't move, so the guy caught her immediately. And then she had a chance to kick him, but she mishit the button. So from the very first prompt of walking around the corner, there was no chase with the fire flamethrower guy she was caught there. And
He
missed
got
the kick.
caught immediately.
Immediately that and missed the kick, quick time to kick him. Immediately afterwards, there was no chase at all.
Amazing.
I'd also say that Mike got killed. You will go back into the
Mike
temple
can't
the
get
second
killed.
time.
Mike
Yeah.
can't get killed until the section with the wolf.
Yes, that section
Until
he got
that
killed.
point,
He got killed there. Because now the wolf, I think defends you one time.
I'll get back to that in a second.
He died.
Mike has invulnerability
Right.
until the wolf section. And if you clear that wolf section without Mike dying, Mike becomes invulnerable again until the very end of the game, that last scene.
Mike died and reached out from underneath the very basement below. Hit the wall in quick time and was gone.
The wolf saves you from... Alright, back to the earlier question that
Yes.
you had. The wolf saves you twice. The wolf barks really loudly at the Wendigo and distracts the Wendigo one time.
Right.
If you fail a quick time event twice, the wolf attacks the Wendigo and dies.
Right.
Third time you fail a quick time event in the wolf area is when Mike dies.
Right. I would also say he was very interested in taking pictures of the sliced up bear.
What?
There was a bear that was cut in half by a Wendigo when going down there. All gory and everything from what he rode, and he was fascinated with that. But I do remember that. He took pictures of the bear with the bear.
Why?
I don't know. There was a jump scare, he said, that when you're under Ashley and Chris walking, the one with like the puppet thing jumps out at you against the wall.
Oh, that.
He was
glitched.
sitting in the chair. The chair jumped with him in the chair.
At that point, I had glitched my game. There are glitches in the game. Like,
Yeah.
I was actually, and I was going. There's a pillar. Like, here's the entrance to the room. There's a pillar right here. I went to go check in between this. Jump scare happened at the end of the hall, and Ashley goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 what?"
Yeah.
She phased through the pillar.
Oh wow.
She went through the pillar. Like, the pillar, I went back and checked it after that section. It's a solid object. You can't
Right.
actually pass through it. Once that jump scare happens and Ashley freaks out, she went through the pillar.
Right.
It will... Amazing job. If you haven't played Until Dawn, it's really great. I'd go watch the game theorists on GT Live
Yes.
play the game, because they do a great job at building up suspense as well, and they also got the phasing through the pillar
Right.
scene, because we like to explore. So shout out to GT Live and the game theorists.
Leads to my
Please
next
don't sue
question. Leading to the next question. So what does this game bring for horror fans who are like thinking, what do I start? What do I find a really good horror game for a game console? And if not this, what others would you recommend?
Well, I'd recommend Resident Evil 7.
Okay.
It's a horror shooter, and most games don't get that right.
Right. The series is known for getting it right, but more so than not. Slightly.
Once they hit like Resident Evil 3, 4, one of those two, they stopped being a horror genre and went over to a shooter genre.
Right.
And once they went over to the shooter genre, it's just... They kind of let go of the horror.
Right.
And it was such a shame, too, because Resident Evil is a great series.
Right. I know one of them between 3 and 6 were decent. I think.
If you're talking about shooters, yeah. If you're talking about horror, the original Resident Evil
And then 7 kind of went back to the roots.
7 went back to the horror roots.
Right.
But from, I want to say like 4 to 6, it was a shooter.
Right.
Maybe 3 to 6, but I haven't played it. I've seen gameplay of it.
Yes.
So.
Back in a sec.